Hey, Mega Moms, Jessica Hensley here with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And I am joined by one of my dear friends, Teri Pierce. She has been part of our Mega Mom community for 5, 6+ years. She's in our downline at EXP. She serves the Branson area, and she's also dual careered. So she's also a bookkeeper. I don't know if are you an accountant also, or?
I'm not a CPA, but I have my own accounting business.
Oh, no, yes. And so real estate's kind of the cherry on top, but it's been a slow go the last few years. Come to find out, she's had some major health issues, and she's, finding light at the end of the tunnel there and just like a whole new woman. So we're going to talk about coming back, making a comeback in real estate. And I mean, let's just talk also about her health, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Hey, Teri. So I know that was a really long intro for you, but why don't you kind of pick up where I left off? What's been going on the last few years?
Oh my gosh, there's been so much and not so much going on the last couple of years. It's been a struggle with my health. I was diagnosed 12 years ago with rheumatoid arthritis, and last year it just exploded on me, and there was days I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do stuff. And so it affected my business, both of my businesses, real estate and my accounting business. And my real estate, I didn't have one closing last year, which in a way was a blessing, because I don't know that I could have done much for my clients, but it's coming back and everything's doing good.
So your accounting business is your primary source of income, and your husband works as well, right? So you guys have enough to pay the bills. And what was your hope with getting into real estate? And by the way, when did you get into real estate in the first place?
I got into real estate in 2011. I had a dear, dear friend of mine that I used to help her out with some billing. She ran a water company for Kimberling City here. And we kind of became really good friends, and she was busy and she didn't have any agents. And we were talking one day. I'm like, hey, why don't I get my license and help you? And so that's kind of where it all started. I owe a lot. I owe my career to Brenda and Lane Morrill. I mean, they were my backbone.
Yeah. So how were those first, years of real estate with that company? Like, what did your transactions count look like and your business look like?
I was working full time for a CPA firm. And so I was working 40 plus hours a week, tax season, 50, 60 hours a week easily. And so I did showings on my lunch hour. I did showings after work, and I did showings on the weekends and stuff. And, I started out small. I had friends, referrals and stuff like that. And just started out my first year with a couple of listings, had a couple of buyers, and it just kind of went from there.
Awesome. And so then you made the switch over to EXP whenever, how long ago has that been?
COVID. That's when I joined, 2020. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So when you moved, what was the reason you made that move?
Well, at the time I had been with a different brokerage, because the little mom and pop brokerage had been bought out by the big balloon. And so I was with them, and then I got in with your group. I think it was like fall of 19 is when I started with Mega Moms, and it just made sense. I heard you and Randy and Lauren talking about EXP, and I got to thinking about it. Number one, it could save me a lot of money. I was paying huge fees every month, and it wasn't funneling me any leads. My leads were still coming from my referrals and my sphere and stuff. And so it just made, the more I got to thinking about it, I thought, well, I could be at home, work from home, and because there's no, brokerage to go into. So it just made sense. And talked to my husband about it, and he was on board. And so I made the jump, and I've been happy that I've done it ever since.
What has been the biggest win from making that move, would you say?
I don't have to report to an office. I don't have to do floor duty. I don't have to. I answer. I mean, my brokers, I love them to death, but I don't hardly ever talk to them, unless I have a problem, which is sad to say. That's the only time I reach out to them. But it's not. I don't have somebody hounding me, telling me I have to do stuff. I do my own thing.
Right. Yeah, so I think that that's the cool thing about EXP, or, really any of the cloud-based models.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like in essence you are running your own business, and you have just this layer of protection. I feel like that's more what the split is about, is they're covering some liability for me, there's resources, and with EXP it's kind of like the OG cloud-based brokerage. So we've already gone through a lot of the trial and error, so you have a lot of systems that are already in place or have been perfected, and just continuing to improve. And to me, the training and the networking is probably one of my favorite things. You have to be willing to tap into it, right? But it's there for you if you want it, and it doesn't come at additional cost. It's just part of being part of the brokerage. So, okay, so let's talk about the last year or so, when I think things were really escalating with your health. How was, you said that you couldn't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
It just was getting pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I was on major amounts of prednisone. Gotta love the steroids. They help. They work, but packed on a ton of weight, and which didn't help my mobility and movements anymore. And I'd always walked. I love walking down here where I live. I live in Kimberling City, and I live on the lake. And it got to where I couldn't go out and do my walks, and it just, it affects you mentally as well as physically, and the fatigue is just horrible. So I picked up a couple of listings last year, but I had zero sales. I may have shown a couple of properties last year, but that was it.
Do you think that that was mostly because of your health?
I wasn't pursuing, and I wasn't being aggressive and helping people, and reaching out and stuff. But so, yeah, it affected it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned mental health, because I think when we are experiencing the physical aspects, it does affect us, and we can get depressed and down and angry and have all of these, terrible feelings,
Mm-hmm.
because we're angry because we can't do what we wanted to do. And to be honest, I don't have rheumatoid arthritis or a condition like that, but I have noticed the last couple months, just adding some different supplements and being outside more and just making myself move. I'm like, wow, that I feel so much different today than I did 6 months ago. And they say like vitamin D is one of the most I guess supplements that people are that they're deficient in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard that, but for me, it made a big difference. So, what are you doing? What's changed?
Well, I believe it or not, kind of like with real estate and coaching, there's actually rheumatoid arthritis coaches out, and I've always said it stems from gut health. Your health is your gut health, and we basically stripped it down. And unfortunately and fortunately, I've gone to a whole plant-based diet and just adding in foods a little bit at a time, but I had to give up my coffee, which that was no fun.
Now, have you ever tried mud water, or have you heard of this?
No.
You look it up. It's a mushroom-based, and they have other things in it too, but I know it has like lion's mane and all kinds of other things, and it's really good, actually. Mud water. And you have to like mix it up. It's almost more like a chai latte kind of, and I would put cream in it. So I guess if you're doing 100% plant-based, maybe like coconut cream or something like that. But yeah, you should try that.
Ooh.
So you're doing plant-based, and what's the results? And by the way, this is not a health podcast. We're not like promoting anything, because I've even done for a short period of time carnivore, so that's like the total opposite of the plant-based. So, but the point is, everyone should take charge of their own health. And I think we are not all the same. Some people are going to thrive, and you may have to do something for a short time, but what do you have to do to get yourself back to being in good health? And really, you have to prioritize that before you can prioritize your business. You can be making phone calls, going on appointments, and if you feel like crap and you're showing up like that, you're not going to be successful.
Yes. That's 100% true. And I know that was that way last year. One of my clients is a really dear friend of mine, and we've had his house for sale. It's a second home. And, he understood. But if it was somebody I didn't know, why would they want me representing them? I would think twice about it if it was me, so I'm glad I'm getting back. And, I've had 2 closings so far this year. I've had one. I've one pending right now. I have a couple of listings coming up. So it's really taken a turn this year.
Yes. And I would say like the first quarter for you, because you do focus on, bookkeeping, accounting, it's pretty busy with the tax season. So you really can't get into gear until after that, at least after April 15th, right. I'm sure. So what activities have you learned directly from maybe our 6 Foundations program, coaching with me, just anything from Mega Moms? What are you going to implement in your life, in your business, to get you back to that transaction count and financial state that you want to be in?
I'm trying, I'm still, here it is July, and the year is half over, but still I focus a lot on the business in a box, the spreadsheet that shows you what you have to do, because unfortunately, last year with no closings, you still have dues, you still have, I did listings, so I had photos, I had drone footage, different things that adds up and expenses. And now I'm kind of paying back because our household budget had to cover my real estate instead of my real estate. So the business in the box is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah. And then also, hopefully you've identified your pillars. And we can just have kind of a live coaching session here. You're this halfway through the year, you're refocused, re-energized. So what are going to be the 3 primary lead sources that you focus on for the rest of the year to fund your business?
Friends and family. That's where a lot of mine comes from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that should be pretty much everyone should have that as one of their primary pillars. And of course, we talk about, how to lean into that, all of the different ways. But the main thing is stay in contact with them. Doesn't really matter how you do it, but you got to stay in contact with them, right? So friends and family is one. What about the other 2?
And honestly, Jessica, I really kind of haven't thought about it.
Right.
It's one of those things that it's just like, okay, it just kind of rolls, and I'm blessed. I'm very blessed and fortunate that, I had somebody call me off of a sign that I had worked with their family members as buyers, and they loved me to death. And so they called me, to yes. possibly list their place down the road from me. So, and there's a lot in our area that there's big powerhouse agents and stuff that have been here, that grew up here, and I didn't grow up here. I grew up an hour north in Springfield. So I'm kind of the odd man out when it comes to that. But just talking to people and getting to meet new people helps. Mm-hmm. And I do that, with my accounting business. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking
to be a lead source.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're like, oh, you do accounting? Do you have a card? Yes. And I'm also a real estate agent, and I'd love to help you. So meeting people.
And so people get the idea. We have other ways that we talk about. And of course, there's no right answer for this question. What's your 3 lead sources? Everyone can have something different. Mm-hmm. Something that I'm leaning into is even Google reviews and my business. We get people that call us on that. So we have a kind of outlined online presence that we want to attract business to us instead of having to chase after the business. Some other people might do maybe like a YouTube channel or some sort of content about their community that they're going to post. every week. So there's no shortage of ideas and ways. But the point is, with Mega Moms, what we teach you to do is to narrow that down to 3 primary sources, because what I find most people do is they see the shiny object, they hear, oh, this is working for you, I want to do what you're doing. And then now they've added a 10th thing to their tool belt, and they're not doing any one thing well, right? So, you know what? I would say, Teri, my challenge to you is, let's just dial in your friends and family. Let's take this next quarter until, what is that, till October, right? No, September. And let's dial in your friends and family. And how are you going to reach out to them? How are you going to reconnect with them? And I bet just reconnecting and having that complete data will make a huge difference.
Yes, and I'm big on sending handwritten cards. I'll just think of somebody, and so I'll send them a handwritten card, and that's another way too that I kind of stay in front of them. Just, hey, it was good to see you the other day. Hope you guys are doing well, and it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe on our next, so something we do with EXP with our downline, we have a once a week call on Tuesdays. And so, Teri, let's the next Tuesday be on that call with me, and let's outline your plan. So it's going to
be able to.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. It's going to turn around for you. I'm really excited now that you have the energy back. I think that you're just a totally new woman. So
it's so, and especially like when we went to Dallas in December and stuff, it's just, I look back at that time and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I even do that? How did I get through the days just compared to how good I feel right now? It's just, it's amazing. So that gives me energy to want to get out and want to help people find a lake home, or, find a forever home, or sell or whatever, and relocate to a different part of the lake. I've got somebody that's wanting to do that. So
nice. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Teri, if they want to send you a referral, how could our listeners do that?
You can reach out to me on Facebook. I've got a business Facebook page. I've got an Instagram business page. I'm trying to be more active in those, like, I slacked on those too, but trying to do all that. And just, I'm here in Kimberling City, Table Rock Lake, and it's beautiful down here, and I'd love to help people.
What is your handle for those pages? Is it just Teri Pierce, or?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Or actually, my Instagram is Tri-Lakes Teri, because that's what I used to brand myself as. But then my Tri-Lakes Teri on Facebook got hijacked, and I never ever got it back. So it's just Teri Pierce, EXP Realtor.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Teri. And moms, if you need anything, let us know. If you want to re-energize your business and you want a path to making 6 figures, we do guarantee that you'll make 6 figures if you'll follow our system. So you can click on the link below to learn more about our 6 foundations to building a business you love. We'll see you next time. Bye.